Over the past week or so, Matt and I have been working hard to get our master head faired out and hopefully ready for primer soon. In the toilet and sink area of the head, I was trying to do last touch-ups by wiping Dykem Blue liquid over the outboard wall, and when I sanded it, any blue spots remaining would let me know that area was low and needed to be passed through once more with filler. As we'd been noticing so far, it was mostly the corners which still needed more of our fairing compound, but there were also some areas in the middle that would need to be hit as well. While I was doing this, Matt was going about routing the edges where the back of our settee and the splash guard for the galley meet up. With the low spots touched up, it was time to go back to hand sanding with my flexible sander, meant for slightly curved surfaces. With some 80 grit hook and loop sandpaper attached, it was the perfect recipe to get the finish I was looking for. It looks like Matt is getting ready to glass in a few of the shells in our main kind of like hanging storage locker here, but as I sit in the head, I've got in this lower part from the line, I think as fair as I can. Again, it can be worked more. I just need to try and keep this line good and work my way down. And actually, I'm pretty happy with what's been going on up here, so I'm hoping that when I take the tape and move it down, that there's minimal work that needs to be done there, and we can go ahead and start priming this area too. So I think what I'm going to do now so that I make sure to keep the line is to just go with the pencil and draw right underneath where it currently is, pull off the tape, and then follow that pencil line from the bottom now. Well, you can definitely see where the tape was standing before because there's a lot of times I went to go ferret up to the line. Here it actually looks pretty blended, so got a few lines here that need to be fixed. It looks like another area in the corner that never was, but again, I'm gonna get the tape going down here now and across, which, oh, that feels so nice. Yes, that is definitely a smooth surface there, even if I need to fix a couple things below it. But be able to get that all faired out and hopefully prime in the next few days. Taking advantage of all the fairing tools Colby had temporarily left behind for us, including tape knives and a sizable mixing board, Matt and I were going to join forces for the day to get fairing compound on the outboard starboard side of the salon and a few spots leading down into the owner's hull. Matt was ready to take on the task of fairing, so I handed over the tools and worked as a mixer while he applied filler around the window of bulkhead 6.
We are now probably 10 minutes into this, 20 minutes into this, and I got demoted already. I am now the mixer, Jess is application specialist. There's too much backseat driving, telling me what to do, so I decided just to let her do it herself.
Let her do the thing.
Uh-huh.
To have a champagne toast, I know feel like today should have been the day. So we were covering everything.
There's a lot of sanding in our future.
That's a lot of sanding in your future.
Oh.
I fair, you sand.
Yeah. Joke's on her, I'm actually not good at either sanding or fairing, so haha!
Oh, I did it again. Twice now. I think I'd learn. Oh man, I just scared the hell out of Matt when I came in because he was busy sanding over here, had like the helmet on with the air pumping in, earbuds going. Always fun when you sneak up on someone. But yes, he has spent the morning sanding all of the area that we went through and faired yesterday, covered a lot of surfaces. So let's take a look at how that's faring out. Yeah, so I already can tell with the coats we did yesterday, sanding down, surfaces that are looking pretty good. Loving the side of that cabinet, and pretty soon Matt is going to be glassing this so that we can then fair the rest of that. Our computer electronic storage area, and then pretty soon we'll be covering this stuff as well. Things are happening. With one side of our boat looking much more finished now that it had filler covering all of its surfaces, we wanted to copy the same thing over on port side. Since all the glassing had now been completed with the galley countertops leading down to the sides, there was nothing keeping us from applying our total boat polyester fairing compound to all the foam core surfaces here as well.
So this is the aft galley section. Sink is going to be right in this area. Pretend that's the sink. One of the last projects I have in this area, in our galley section, the outboard side, is going to be making a dish drying rack. This is where the sink's going to reside. Right behind that is where the dish rack is going to go, and that is going to be that same type of wood that we're using for the rest of the build for all of our trim. It's just going to visually add something to it, and it should be pretty useful too. So what I have to do is make a recess, a pan that's going to go in this area, drop down into the ceiling, which again, bathrooms below this, the head on the port side. So we're just going to do something about 2.5 inches deep, and then the drain for that is going to go straight through this hollow section, which is right behind here, and feed into that same drain that's going to be for the sink as well. There should be good airflow through this section as well, so it should dry really well. And at the same time, I'm going to end up building the medicine cabinet that's going to be in the shower area as well. We'll go down and take a look at that. This is sink area, so right behind here is where we're going to want our medicine cabinet. Now I have made a little note to remind myself that I don't screw this up. The countertop actually sits right here, And when the sink is in place, that's going to drop down at least 10 inches. Brings us to where the bottom of the sinks will be. So we need to have something that's going to fit within basically this area here is how we're going to set that up. I may even have it ride a little bit below this because of course we can have things when you open it up, you can kind of drop things into place as well. Just a little square in here, insert maybe one shelf in it, not real elaborate. And then when we make the door will have the mirror on it, of course, and that can go higher over this area. So someone a little bit taller will at least be able to see themselves in it. And then trim that out, and that's just an overlay door. So real simple, real easy to build. That will go in this place once we fair this whole thing out and get that all set. But that is my other project for today.
During our day of fairing lessons, Colby had told us he doesn't normally use blocks until he gets to the stage where the primer has been applied. So to prep this surface for a second coat, we're using our 6-inch orbital sander with 60 grit sandpaper. This will just sand down the lines from our tools as well as other noticeably high spots before we can add another coat of filler. And then we might go to blocks before priming, just because we like to keep reaching for perfection.
Reading through last week's comments, we realized that we have a ton of viewers that are really into the electrical side of things. There was a lot of comments on when we said we were going to do some wireless switches for the lights. Kind of brings us segues into today, where we talk about what we're going to do for our electrical panel. Instead of going with a conventional panel that we've had on the previous boats, a lot of it's due to the hybrid system and the electrical needs of that and just pure kind of the geek factor. But after going to Mets and being able to play with all the different options, the one we landed on was Simarine's Nereide 3. What we really liked about this system was the fact that not only is it beautiful to look at, and it's going to be out here kind of in the open, so I'm going to see it every single day, and I wanted something that was just gorgeous to look at, was the fact that it has built-in redundancies right in that setup. So you have that ability, if there were ever an issue with anything, you can flip a switch on the relay, go to a full manual mode on it, which then falls back to a fuse block setup. So you have that safety that was thought of from the ground up in this system that you can control yourself. So really, really like that part of it. What got us that the others didn't have, that we weren't able to find on other setups, was the full data logging capabilities. Simarine is known for their Pico battery monitor. It's something that was revolutionary when it came out. The fact that you had this easy to use interface, and it was just a powerhouse. It was able to do everything you wanted. Well, they used multiples of that in this new setup with the digital switching. It's allowing it to control and monitor every single circuit. So we can get down to the nitty-gritty of what the water pump is using and what the electric heads are using and all these different things. We're able to data log that and have these long graphs where we're able to see exactly where our power use is going. Now, in a normal boat or how we were configured previously, wasn't as important. It's something that the nerd in me, the data lover in me, really, really likes that idea of having that stuff at our fingertips. That way we can see if a motor is failing, electric motor is failing because it's suddenly starting to use more power, or voltage spikes, that kind of thing. But the other side of it is now that we're going with a hybrid setup, power use is suddenly much more important to us. Finding out where we have those things that are just using a ridiculous amount of power, way more than what we ever would have thought, that, if we just switch it off for the night, not that big of a deal. We're not losing capabilities, but we're saving a ton of power. So having that is going to be very, very important because we're going to have some higher loads than we're used to. With the all-electric galley, that of course is using more power. The hybrid system itself is going to be using a lot more power, electric winches, all these different things that we haven't had before. It's going to be very nice being able to sit there and get all that information. So in future episodes, we're going to go over the installation. Of course, we don't have the panel yet. It's physically going to be right in this area. They haven't even released yet the 3rd generation. That's going to be coming in a couple of months, but we do have some basic information, so we're able to go over and start designing our electrical diagram, the finalize really the electrical diagram for this. But we'll go over that installation, we'll go over the programming, how it actually works in future episodes, but we're really excited to work with them. It's something that we really wanted on this boat now, was to go that direction. We think that's the way that everyone's going to end up going in the future, and it's just fun to play with that kind of stuff.